Hey there, I wanted to take a few moments to talk about video games. Now, I'm almost reticent to admit that I love playing video games because there's such a negative preconception regarding them. There's this idea that if you play video games, you must be an unemployed degenerate living in your parents' basement. And there's also this notion that you should age out of playing games. Like, it's okay when you're a kid, but as you're an adult, you just shouldn't play them anymore. And, I gotta wonder about that because we don't have that idea about movies or television, but video games in particular just seem to have this negative preconception. And I wanted to take some time to just kind of explain that, I do work, I'm not unemployed, and for my job, I have long commutes, and I go to a client. Have to talk a lot with the clients. Have to explain to them, and a lot of times give them news that they don't want to hear, which sometimes the conversations are difficult, and doing that throughout the day, every day, can be very draining, and a long commute can be very draining. And I do like my job, but by the time I get home, I need to take some time just to kind of unplug from everything. And one of the ways I do that is I play video games, just kind of get away for an hour. And I think there's a certain joy in focusing all your attention on something that really, in the ultimate scheme of things, doesn't really matter that much. And once I've done that for like an hour, I kind of come back and I'm the better for it. So I do enjoy playing video games. And I also, like I said, the point is to unplug, just not to think about anything. But I do have to say that I'm a Christian, and sometimes God has other ideas. Sometimes He teaches me things, biblical truths, when I'm playing video games. I don't think there's anything in particular special about video games in that respect, other than the fact that God will speak to you in a language that you can hear. So if you really enjoy doing something, God can speak through that if you let Him, if you don't drown Him out. So He does that for me through video games. And so I wanted to take some time, and the main purpose of this video is documentation, because He's done that for me countless times, just speaking truths through video games. And yet, like a week later, I'll forget about it. So the main purpose of these videos is documentation, documenting what He's teaching me. And then the second point, if He's teaching me something, I believe maybe other people can learn from it too. So that's why I'm sharing these videos. So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, I'm going to give a biblical truth through the game Maniac Mansion. Now, Maniac Mansion is an old computer game from the 8-bit era, and in that game, you're a high schooler and your girlfriend's gone missing in this huge mansion. So you and a couple friends sneak into the mansion in the hopes of rescuing your girlfriend. And as you go through different rooms collecting items, it's very puzzle oriented. And as you're going through, you'll come across doors that are locked, and you got to find the keys, which are in another part of the mansion. And there are also doors that aren't locked per se, but they're stuck, and you pull, but you can't open them. And there's one scene, there's a floor grate that, again, you're yanking on it, you just don't have the strength to open it up. So what happens is, as you're going throughout the mansion, your character comes upon a weight room. And the weight room has different machines, and if you put your character on this one machine, and you do a rep, and you just do one rep, and then the character says, "Oh, I feel much stronger." And now, as you go about the stuck door, you can pull open with your newfound strength, and the floor grate the same. And you can explore areas that were previously inaccessible. Now, I just wanted to kind of pause the game at that point and just to try to apply that in your life. Just how ridiculous of an idea that is. Imagine going to a gym. You say that you want to build your strength, you want to build your upper body strength, so you hire a trainer, and you're dedicated to this purpose. And then you go, and she's there with you, counting the reps as you go, and then you're at the machine, you count off one rep, then all of a sudden you get up and you say, "Okay, that's it, I'm good," and walk out. I mean, the trainer would think you're the biggest idiot in the world. Nobody could possibly build strength just doing one rep. It has to be a continuous process. And that's the way video games kind of, they're simplistic in that sense, that as ridiculous as that is, video games, you just go with it. But you would never do that in your everyday life. Nobody would go to a gym thinking that after one rep they'd be stronger. And that being said, spiritually, I find myself doing that. Not at the gym, but if you take like biblical disciplines such as reading the Bible and praying, these are things, I should be doing every day. And yet, so many times, I'll pray and I'll read the Bible if I really want something, or if I'm in a jam. Like, well, what do I do? Okay, God, please help me out of this. All right, I'm going to read the Bible, to show this. I'm serious now. I'm going to dedicate myself to you. And then whatever the situation was passes, and I'm like, I just don't feel that same motivation. I'm like, okay, I'll let my prayer life slip. I'll let the reading slip, and I just go about my everyday life until the next, big catastrophe happens. And I'm like, why am I going through this again? Why am I so spiritually weak? I'm so spiritually weak because I'm only doing one rep and stopping. Just like at the gym, you would know that you need to do it continuously, and yet spiritually I'm not doing that. And so I wanted to share, there's some Bible verses that also speak to this. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 tells us to pray continually. Joshua 1:8 says, keep the book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you'll be prosperous and successful. So the God speaks to the importance of doing these disciplines continuously. And so when I'm wondering why I'm not successful or why I'm not spiritually strong, because I'm only doing one rep and stopping. So, God really laid that upon my heart, and I hope that you find that worthwhile as well. So thank you for listening. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Does God speak to you through video games? How does God speak to you? Any other passions? Honestly, if you just like Maniac Mansion, it's a fun game. It's an old game, but it's a fun game. So if you just like that, let me know. Love to hear from you. And I'm going to be doing another video next week on a biblical truth through the video game, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So thank you again, and I will talk to you later.